Hello and welcome to another edition of Classical Creativity. In this video, I'll be demonstrating on how to draw a cityscape using one-point perspective. What you'll need is a paper, a pencil, eraser, and a straight edge. You can use a ruler, or if you have the side of a book or side of a notebook, any straight edge will do. First thing you want to do, especially if you got the ruler, you want to lay your ruler down next to the piece of paper, and we're going to put a little mark at the 3-inch. So just lay that down on the side of the paper, and then right at the number 3, make a little mark on this side of the paper, then bring it over here, make a mark on the right side of the paper, and then these two dots that you made on both sides, we're just going to connect that with our straight edge. Okay. Now you want to leave your straight edge there, and we're going to make a 1-point perspective dot right at the 6-inch mark, or just eyeball it in the center of your paper. Okay. Now what I want you to do is slide your ruler down to the bottom, and you're going to make a mark at the 4-inch, and make a mark at the 8-inch. And then again, you're going to make a mark on the outside of those, one at the 3-inch and one at the 9-inch. So it's going to be 3, 4, 8, and 9. If you don't have a ruler, just eyeball it, have it coming equidistant, the same distance from the center of the paper out. And these marks are about 1 inch apart. Okay, now that you got that set, we're going to draw a line going from each of these marks at the bottom of our paper towards that 1-point perspective. Again, don't forget to just don't put too much pressure on your pencil. I'm pressing down hard so everyone can see. So now we have our sidewalk and street, although it doesn't look exactly like that. We're going to, with a few lines, we're going to change it into a street and sidewalk. So just put your ruler vertical along your paper, meaning straight up and down, and then you're going to draw a series of dashed lines. Now in the back, towards this dot, these lines are going to be very small, and they're going to be close together. And as you start coming down towards the bottom of the paper, these lines are going to get longer and further apart. And now for our sidewalk lines, you have to make sure that this ruler is horizontal. So you can put it up against your horizon line. This is what the line we made here. This horizontal line is called a horizon line. It's where the sky meets the land. And you're just going to drag your ruler down a little bit, and you're going to make two horizontal lines on either sides of those sidewalks. And you have to make sure that this ruler stays horizontal, straight across the paper. And as you start getting further and further down your sidewalk, these lines become further and further apart from each other. Okay, so now we have our street and our sidewalk. I'm going to put a series of light posts on the left side of the street. So what I want you to do is about right at the bottom of your paper, between your sidewalk and the corner of your paper, just eyeball it, put a little mark right in between them. It should be just in the middle between the corner of your paper and your sidewalk. You just want to make a little mark. After you're done doing that mark, what you want to do is you want to draw another line very, very lightly from your 1-point perspective to that mark you just made. Very lightly, because you are going to erase this line. This is just a guideline to let us know where our posts go in. So the next move is very important to remember, that you have to keep your ruler on a vertical angle, meaning straight up and down. So always check your ruler against your paper, make sure it's not leaning this way, make sure it's not on an angle this way. You want to make sure it's straight up and down. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw a line, vertical line, starting at the top between the sidewalk and that line you just made, straight up and down. If your ruler goes from one angle or the other, if it's off, your light posts will look like they're leaning over. So we want to make sure that they're going straight up and down. And if you just get about 4 or 5 lines in here, that'll be enough. Now for the part of the light post that goes out over the street, you just want to make sure that line stays vertical. I'm sorry, you want to make sure that line goes horizontal, meaning straight across your paper like this, so you can set your ruler up again against your horizon line. Make sure it's straight and horizontal. Come down to the top of each of those lines and come straight over to your sidewalk. Stop at your sidewalk. You don't want to go out past your sidewalk. Make sure you put a horizontal line at the top of every one of those lines and bring it out to the middle of the sidewalk. And now you have your light posts. And at that point, you can then start designing your own light posts how you want them. Remember, whatever light you put on, they get bigger as they come closer to you. And then later you could start adding a little bit more detail to your light posts, giving it these posts some width. If you want to put some designs in here as well, a little cover on it, but that's up to you on how you want to design each of your light posts. When you're done with that, you can erase this guideline. Now we're going to move over to putting a building